Time to head to another parking lot. This is a horrible way to have to live. Cops refuse to investigate crimes for homeless people. Once in a very great fucking while, we get surprised. Usually by a rookie or somebody who has been there way too long. Says, fuck it, I'm tired of fighting with homeless people. I'm gonna help one of them. I've been through some hellacious situations in my life. As a male, I get told that it's my fault for being there. I'm taught that I'm supposed to protect women. When there's women in my life that want to ask me not to turn this stuff in that they're telling me to the police, they're just telling me that because they need help. They need help getting out of the situation. They're helping their own predator to get away. 9 times out of 10, they're going to go back to them. It's horrible. And who ends up getting the ass end of that stick? The poor sod who stuck up for you. The guy or gal who rescued you. There's a lady named Rebecca, and she's rescued a couple of women in Chapel, Nebraska. And those women went back to the people who abused them. Yeah, that's a lot like kicking Rebecca in the butthole, you know? It's mean. It's mean-hearted because then she gets treated like she's just stirring up the mud and stirring up drama. You didn't want to go to the cops. You had your friend invest a lot in trying to rescue you from that situation. You should have tried to turn it in. Because even if you don't go back to him, he's going to believe that that kind of behavior is okay, and he's going to do it to the next person. Now, I've been showing you on this channel since I got here, same thing in the Dells, same thing in the Hood River, the horrendous situations and conditions in which Americans on the streets have to live. The kind of predators that we have stuck among us. There is no judge or jury. It's whoever happens to be there to hear the rumor and whose rumor they want to believe. You run into somebody who's autistic, they'll tell you everything if you listen and if they're able. The biggest problem that I had at the very beginning is that I didn't just spout out everybody's name right from the start. I went to this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person for help. I should have said that publicly and very loud right from the very start. But I was trying to protect people. People who did not do anything to protect me. I needed to be protected from their decisions, from their assumptions, from their harm, from their laziness, from their selfishness. Sean, bring this and bring that and I'll help you. $20 an hour? Yeah, Sean, I'll help you. And what happened to that money? Well, Natalie Marie Bollinger disappeared. I offered it all to try to get her somewhere safe. And although the evidence shows that, nobody wanted to pay any attention to that. They wanted to try to pick little bits and pieces out that they could twist out of context to say or mean something they didn't. And then there's all these web sleuth groups created, and nobody cares about that, do they? They don't care about the impact on my life over that. They don't care about people threatening to kill my little sister and my niece. And yes, my little sister did say and type that. You're absolutely goddamn right I fucking put that on YouTube. But also the stuff that she had to say about meth use, yeah, I do believe that my sister probably was. My sister, I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. Mandy Singer didn't think that I should have given her the benefit of the doubt at all. A lot of people told 911 immediately. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You want me to call Scott DaCosta to come arrest my sister for ripping me off when she was supposed to be trying to help me turn in Scott DaCosta? Helping me defend myself against Leslie Snell and her harm and her slander. I gave Mandy Singer, I want to say $400 altogether for a computer. And I gave her $100, that's $20 an hour, for 5 hours of help. She definitely put in 5 hours worth of work on that, and I will give her that. She earned that $100. The amount of time that it took her to get a computer, though, you can see that she was trying to get a good deal. We didn't need to get a good deal. We needed to do it immediately. But I just had to wait and be patient and understand. Well, of course she had to wait for a good deal. She spent a lot of that money on pot. And she told me, well, thank you for giving me money for meds. I'm like, that's not what I gave you the money for, you know? I gave her that money so that she could get a computer, so that she could help me. I've been offering $20 an hour since before Natalie was killed for help with this. And all these different places I got to go to, they ignore the fact that I went where I was supposed to. I talked to who I was supposed to. I went to the people I was supposed to, and everybody made me go in alone. And by making me go in alone, they made the fight to get truth shown that much harder. It got to the point that they had harmed me and assaulted me so many times. I'm talking about law enforcement, by the way. Taking me to hospitals and having me locked up on suicide watch. What did they ever do about the threats, harassment, and assaults? It got to the point where obviously I had to be afraid to go to police about anything at all. The police playing judge, jury, and executioner. When I was in, sorry, my door's not opening. When I was in Virginia, what gave them the right to break my vehicle? What gave them the right? What gave them the right to misrepresent the situation and to lie to me, to outright lie to me about them not going to tow my vehicle? The same exact thing that happened in Longmont. Claimed they wouldn't tow my vehicle. They just kept on lying to me. Their body cameras showed that, and nobody cared. Nobody tried to get those. They just let them keep on hurting me. This is not fucking okay. This is inhumane. This is human and civil rights violations on every fucking level. While being forced into horrid fucking conditions and having to rely on drug dealers and people with severe mental problems because cops don't want to do their jobs. Mental health workers don't want to do their jobs. Hospitals don't want to do their jobs. Clergy don't want to do their jobs. People are not dead due to my negligence. They are dead because other people killed them. Other people killed them. Why? Because the cops didn't want to listen to a homeless retard named Sean David Schwartz. Yeah, what goddamn incentive did the Boulder Police Department have for helping me? Or the Dual County Sheriff's Department, especially since I had been speaking out against both for literally years. Their treatment of poor people and disabled people is inhumane as fuck. Just like here in Tillamook, Oregon. Plenty of crimes to pay attention to. Plenty of crimes to record. Plenty of people hurting other people. And Sean David Schwartz recording it. I don't know who that guy was who was choking that woman out. I wish somebody could go through and help find that video. But if you go through and you scroll through and try to find that video, you will find a lot of videos that have other crimes in them and other witnesses in them. You can help to archive those, to bring them to my attention, because it's all evidence. It's all evidence that I recorded for a reason. And by my rights as a human being, as an American citizen, and as a disabled person, I have every right to do every single thing that I have had to do in order to turn these crimes in. And they have committed just about every crime short of murder to prevent me from showing this evidence anywhere but YouTube. But then again, I'm in a constant state of panic. Going to the cops is very scary when you're a homeless person. A lot of homeless people claim that they would go in with me to help me turn this stuff in, and they just never did. They took their dear sweet time. I was supposed to go to my friends and family like I was told. Like the lawyers said to. Like McGruff said to. Let's see what time it is. 9:49. They got another 11 minutes till they close. I gotta try to find something to wipe off my windshield because I no longer have a heater. God, I hope I don't sneeze again. Anyway, when you're forced to go back to hospitals or jails where you've been abused, the jail staff, they can rely on the fact that they've prevented you by locking you up from recording anything that they say. That sucks, because then they get to do whatever they want and sell whatever narrative they want. In the prison, I was told that Miranda Newsom, the reason that her and Mr. New Year write basically, unless it's a minor thing with a form that they'll allow to go all the way through. Oh, yeah, there was a few violations where, we made a mistake, a clerical error, a tiny one. Doesn't change their sentence. They were already convicted. With me, though, I wasn't convicted of anything. And my paperwork shows that they didn't have any evidence. It shows that they had to drop all of the charges against me by Scott DaCosta, by William Barr, and by Robert Franklin Warnick. They had to drop all of the charges. But they also, in retaliating against me yet again, showed that I could not go to them. Yet again, I had told you repeatedly, they assisted multiple assailants in getting away with it by not investigating. Christopher Kurth, Carl Snell, Clint Snell. They didn't investigate any of that. They never investigated Sandy Fromm. They never tried to investigate any of those people. Never once. When I was assaulted by Joshua Rayborn, that was only 2 days after I literally had to break windows in the low-income apartment that I had. Because none of the people that I was supposed to be in contact with, like Jen Beebe or Nicole Peralta, would even answer the goddamn phone. For 6 months. I had to try to work with Meg Missigatis, who kept telling me it's not her job, not her job, not her job. Dual County Sheriff's Department kept telling me I had to go to Meg, go to Meg, go to Meg. Meg's supposed to help you with that. Meg's supposed to help you with that. Meanwhile, I was court ordered to go to Jen Beebe and Nicole Peralta. Couldn't afford to go. And they weren't going to do anything to help or lift a finger or even answer the phone. There was no way to even set up an appointment to do so because they wouldn't answer the phone. They just ignored it until the statute of limitations came up and the cops could destroy their fucking body cam evidence again. After 1 year, they get to destroy that shit. While you guys are telling me to be patient, how long did Caitlin Tatum make me be patient after she promised? Over 2 years. She finally wrote a character reference. She didn't bother to find out what had gone on. And that entire 2 goddamn years, she just didn't give a fuck. And then she ignored me for a lot more years. A lot of people did that. People who knew what was going on. People who I went to for help. They just didn't want to be embarrassed. Same as Natalie. Where all these people fucked up is that I don't get embarrassed like you do. My motivations and motives are different than yours. You guys throw your sick shit on me. You guys have sex. You enjoy having sex, right? But then you're going to pretend like I only want to have sex and I'm some sort of a pervert, and you use that as an excuse to harm me. Meanwhile, I don't have sex. Half of the people I've had sex with in my adult life are dead. I've only had sex with 2 people. Ryan Ingersoll and Brianna Hernandez Cordona. Oh, fuck, that hurts. Anyway, since I've been very public about having somebody to go in with, and I really hope it doesn't get canceled again, because that seems to be a common trait with just about everybody. Last minute they forget, or they got sick, they got laryngitis, they're stuck on the toilet. There's all sorts of different things that could potentially and possibly happen. A lot of people expect me to understand their disabilities and to give them special reparations for their disabilities. I do. They do not afford me the same. And they don't speak up about the fact that they were going to help, but their disabilities got in the way, or being a mother got in the way, or being beaten up by your ex-boyfriend got in the way, or, of course, being beaten to death. That fucking sure trumps some stuff, don't it? That's what I was worried about with a lot of different kids because of the nature of the situations they were in. With Andrew Witcher, I had to worry about him possibly doing something to his stepdaughter if I didn't speak up right. But I didn't know how. I mean, here I was on my way to Nebraska from Washington State, where my dad had just been an abhorrent fucking ass. You know, it was one shitty situation after another where people just treated me like I was retarded. Or they talked over me and sold their narrative of situations they weren't even there for. Things that happen to this day. And the thing is that I've still got enough evidence to show it, even with a lot of the evidence missing. There's enough evidence in their own paperwork to show how fucked up they did shit, how much they hid from the public, how many crimes were actually committed by officers, how many of these officers had already been involved in committing felonies against me before Natalie was killed, or at least misdemeanors. I had to borrow money from Miss Peaches to get on a bus so that I could get home. That was the 16th of December of 2017. That was 2 weeks before Natalie got her brains blown out. 5 blocks from 5 blocks from Miss Peach's house on 120th and Melody. They're city blocks, but it was a very cold night. I want to say it wasn't even quite dark yet. Just like anybody else, I have hopes, dreams, and aspirations. Those of you who hear me screaming and hooting and hollering and shouting on the internet, that's not what I want to do. Posting people's numbers or conversations up on the internet aren't things that I wanted to do. But those conversations showed that the cops lied and that the Bollingers lied. They show that these people were telling me their friends and family and children and husbands were all having their lives threatened, telling me their Facebooks were being destroyed. Fuck, why can't I pull that hair? Oh. It was one of them little artificial fibers, little twisty ones like what you get on, what is it that has that? Oh, my sweater's actually made out of it. Makes perfect sense. All right, so, through all of this, with police officers lying, with police officers making zero effort to talk to witnesses, zero effort to investigate, forcing me to go to APS, who doesn't look at any evidence. They all take advantage of my disabilities and prevent me from doing it properly. And when I finally do get a safe place, a safe environment, like, of course, I had a full week at a hotel room in Sydney, Nebraska, because it wasn't safe to try to turn in Scott DaCosta from Dallas's house. There was just too much turbulence, too much screaming, and too much potential violence out of Harley. Plus, with her and Dallas screaming at each other over whether or not she was cheating on him with Robert Franklin Mornick, the registered sex offender. So if she didn't go over there to cheat on him, what did she go over there for? To retaliate against me for speaking up like he was doing? High probability. Of course, Dallas could have been right. She could have been cheating on him. And yeah, that's recorded. There's a difference between my audio recordings and my live videos. My live videos, those are the actual situation, or me speaking about the actual situation because I wasn't able to record it on my phone. Or because recording it on my phone would have resulted in them bullshitting me into leaving a place where I really needed to get help. They keep using this mentally ill thing, trying to pretend like I'm schizophrenic, which I am not diagnosed as schizophrenic, by the way. Marcia Estrada also states very loudly and clearly that I'm not schizophrenic. I'm definitely fucking scared. And instead of understanding that I'm scared, I get punished for being scared. Natalie Bollinger didn't care that Tim Beeson and these people were harming me. People like Maddie Boa and their rumors. When I tried to get help, I told her what was going on and how people were treating me. Girls are taught to use this shit as instigation. If you instigate people and you get people riled up to hurt them, and it's somebody who can't even defend themselves. I couldn't even take screenshots of the threats and the harassment that was going on the internet. Having people slap my phone out of my hand, that happened more than once, by the way. I got sick of having to tippy-toe all the way through town in like really weird, odd routes so that I wouldn't be walking by somebody's house who had been a predator towards me since the death of Natalie Bollinger. It's a small town, 5 or 6 people living in various areas of town will make it so that you got to walk completely around. I knew that if I saw Jessica Martindale's vehicle or what's his name, William Barr's vehicle, I knew that there's a chance that William Barr was there at the Martindales. And did I go up to the Martindales? No, I didn't. I felt completely and totally betrayed by those people. Tamara, back in 2017, early 2017, well before Natalie was ever killed, was trying to help me to get the developmental disability paperwork done. I needed to get help stopping the abuse. She understood that as an autistic person in a state of crisis, that there was an actual problem. There was an actual problem. It wasn't that I needed medicated. It was that police were not going to listen to me. I didn't have friends or family who listened to me. They told me how to think and how to feel, and she understood that. She also helped me to get to my appointments. She drove me to the appointments and back. After Natalie was killed, that stopped. Now, it didn't stop with her when Natalie died, because by that time she had quit a lot earlier. She'd quit, I want to say, April or May of 2017. This is after I'd left Virginia. At that point, I'm not being hateful or mean at the very beginning. At the very beginning, I was trying to say You know, it was a fucked up situation. I'll take all of the fucking blame for the fucked up situation that happened. It's all my fault. Fine. All right. Now that I took the blame for everything, will you please call off the fucking dogs? You know, I didn't need people like Tim Beeson calling me up at 2 o'clock in the morning and breathing heavy into the phone or tell me this is Natalie's boyfriend. Fuck you, dude. Man, this is all drama and bullshit that I didn't fucking want. I just didn't want Natalie to fucking kill herself. Her boyfriend made her want to fucking kill herself. Her mom made her want to fucking kill herself. Her dad made her want to fucking kill herself. Her Uncle Troy made her want to fucking kill herself. Her sister made her want to fucking kill herself. A bunch of fucking narcissistic goddamn addicts. Alcoholics, drug addicts, child molesters, and rapists. Her family the same as mine. My older brother, Eric Christopher Schwartz, at least he's not a child molester or a rapist. I know that the situation with Sherman Watson was a fucked up situation over him being friends with Tabitha Michelle Cook. And that was a fucked up situation over... There's a video on my channel, one of the very first ones on my channel, called Jordan Anderson, and then it's got some numbers after it. That's part of the interaction at my grandma's funeral when Ted Bollinger and Alicia Bollinger were fucking with me on the YouTube thing. Like, they'd been doing this for months. Between them and Natalie's two stepmothers. But then again, that should have been supervised. If they're going to call me mentally ill and pretend that I'm too retarded to know what the fuck is going on, they need to put me somewhere where retards who are taken advantage of won't get taken advantage of. But that wasn't their big idea, was it? Instead of a friend going in with me so that I could turn in these crimes, the police got to sell their own fucking narrative to whoever they wanted. They got to prevent me from having body cameras. They got to prevent me from reporting the incidents where I was being tortured and abused in the jails and the prisons. For them to repeatedly have to drop the charges, drop the charges, drop the charges. The only times that they got me to plead guilty to any of that shit was when my property, that evidence that shows my innocence, that shows that I was forced to do desperate things, not because I wasn't trying to get help, but because just like here, when you're a male and you're homeless, nobody gives a fuck. Here's a fucking sandwich. That should be good enough. Well, it's not good enough. The recordings of the crimes that I saw committed at Denny's, and many of them recorded for the safety of the people who worked there at Denny's, as well as myself, were appreciated by them. They even stated that they appreciated that. But me recording them for my safety, and me having to post them publicly, the same as I did with theirs, there's a reason for it. If the evidence isn't up there that shows the truth, and they try to do harmful shit to me, and I'm not able to show it all, I don't have a safe place to do it. I can't function around screamers. How many of you can? You wonder why it is that I project. Why it is that I scream and shout. Because that's what you hear when people are predatory towards you. And they scream and shout. What do your predators do? And listen to them. You don't listen to us. The innocent victims of your fucking constant drama and trauma. Constantly playing for free fucking rides out of a fucked up situation that you put yourself into because you were trying to get a permanent free ride. Why are we, as males, required to drop every fucking thing? We're shamed if we do, shamed if we don't. So it takes a good man to rescue a woman from that. Do you know why? Because he already knows the chances are 9 times out of 10, you're going to go back and he's going to get a lot of shit from your abusers and their friends. And of course, if you speak up, that woman who you rescued is going to play fucking stupid. And if you don't have it recorded, you're fucked. It's a good thing I record everything, huh? It's too bad I didn't have that ability before Natalie was killed, huh? It's too bad I had to just trust people. Once I got the ability to record, though, well, God bless your souls for being so lippy, for being so mouthy, and for assuming that I was so retarded that I would never learn how to do those things. Hell. Ooh, these ones are a little bit bigger. Yep. My car ain't exactly waterproof. Wow, that ground is turning white fast, ain't it? Alright, these ones appear to be pea-sized. I'm going to open my door for just a second. We're going to take a look. I don't know how decent a resolution this is. Oh, not quite, but it is hard. Oh, damn, those are hard. Look at that, just a few seconds, and it already looks like it's been snowing for 30 minutes. Yep. All over inside of my door now. These are the conditions I gotta try to go through my evidence in. Oh, the ground is white. Isn't that magic how fast that happens? Except for that puddle right there. Anyway, Fred Meyer's is closed now. I get that I come across as talking erratically, but I got a time limit for everything. I got deadlines I gotta meet. Otherwise, they get to throw away the evidence. They get to destroy the body cam evidence of the crimes committed by the police in Hood River. It's a lucky thing that I saved that evidence the best that I could, but there's times when their body cameras, because they knew I wasn't recording, they did some pretty atrocious shit. I went to everybody that I was supposed to, and I got the mentally ill treatment. Then they say, oh, you seem cognitive to me, and shit like that, huh? I'm expected to just be happy about this. Alright, I'm just gonna have to sit here for a minute, because it's probably not safe for me to drive in this. I got all these electronics that I barely know how to use. My predators, many of them are well practiced in using these things, and they have a place to do it. That is the most important part. They have a place to do it. But if I have to get put on another goddamn housing list for literally years before I can turn in predators, well, I'm stuck out here on the streets being victimized, and cops won't do their fucking jobs. And of course, I go to these other places who also won't do their jobs. They prey on the fact that I don't have the money for a real lawyer. And they're never going to investigate themselves, are they? But I keep getting sent to them to have them investigate themselves. But we can't do it. Well, it's nobody's job, apparently. Actually, it is the state trooper's job. It is the state patrol's job. When they say that it isn't, they're fucking lying to you. All these people that wanted to be pissed off at me and tell me, oh, well, it's a whole bunch of red tape. I know. I'm well aware. That's why it's important to listen to the victim when they first come to you and do something about it when they first come to you. Because it is scary enough that you are just harmed, that you are just assaulted. But now you have to turn in your assailant to your assailant. And this is a gross misuse of your funds as well as public safety, allowing officers to get away with this. Allowing officers to just ignore the crimes against anybody who they think is retarded, regardless of what the law says they're supposed to do. They did not follow protocol. They took advantage of my disabilities and blew me off. Repeatedly telling me stuff like, you just need to man up. I got real police work to do. Or, well, you just need to tell me and then I'll tell you whether it's against the law or not. You don't need a piece of paper. You don't need to file a report. And if I did take in pieces of paper written by me or anybody else, if I bring in something by somebody else, they go, how do we know you didn't write that? How do we know you didn't write that? How do we know you didn't write that? Well, how about you call the person? The things I did out of desperation because my friends, regardless of all of their pretty words, just like for an entire year before Natalie was killed, yeah, they were going to help. They were going to help. And all their help was dismissing me outright, just like you fucks do. And then you guys are all, oh, she was just trying to be nice. Fuck being nice. Being nice got people killed. Because you're being nice only means that you're going to hide in the fucking corner like a coward and find any excuse to run and hide like a fucking coward. I'm in this fight for the long haul. If my life is going to end over this, it needs to serve a purpose. Natalie Bollinger's life should not have been lost the way that it was, but it can still serve a purpose. That is what happens to female victims, and I am what happens to male victims. And I'm not talking about of each other. I'm talking about public opinion and bias. Who helped me to train Tim Beast? Nobody. They were too busy telling me how to think and how to feel. And after Natalie's death, he kept it up. You guys don't stop to see the reasons that I did the things I did or the actual situations that happened. What you see is the parts where I was cut off from recording it, and I had to rely on somebody to actually do their fucking job and get those fucking body cameras. But my public pretenders wouldn't do that. Any excuse. Just like Marcia Estrada was saying, she called it sleight of hand. And of course, there's also the excuse of these public pretenders have overwhelming caseloads. I go to these places where I'm supposed to go to get help, but they don't help. They want to push the housing thing. And then when they realize that I can't get housing, they still want to push the housing thing. I'm like, in the meantime, 6 crimes have been committed against me in 2 days. What the fuck are you doing? How the fuck are you calling this help? People are fucking harming me. I need an advocate. I need someone that I can go to when I am harmed so the police don't blow me off outright for having a trauma reaction to long-term fucking abuse, long-term harassment, long-term threats, long-term fucking assaults, long term being forced to move over and over and over again. And none of these people stop to understand how detrimental that is. It cuts me off from my loved ones. It cuts me off from my support network. It allows my predators to tell their story to my loved ones whenever they want because they live in the same area. And of course, a lot of my loved ones get their drugs like Ted Bollinger or Ted Bollinger's distribution network. Alright, I can barely see the road. Alright, now I can. I couldn't see the lines in the road is the problem. And I gotta park in a parking lot that's got signs all over saying I can't park here. I can't afford to go anywhere else. I can't afford to keep my fucking vehicle legal. I gotta find a way to get my fucking stuff back, and I'm gonna have to rent the storage unit again. And I don't have the physical ability to fucking do that. Plus, I can't trust any of the law enforcement around here because of, well, such is the case of them assaulting a 14-year-old girl in the Safeway parking lot while her and her friends were trying to tell on abuse by her stepdad. Now her stepdad has become one of my stalkers in this town. This shit is not fucking okay. And cops going out of their way to look the other fucking way is insanely wrong. Being sent to services that are going out of their way to break the law, knowing that they're breaking the law full well, shows the corruption. Because what these people are telling me, these are outright lies that I have recorded from them. And their tactics of talking over me, trying to change the subject, or infer that it must be my fault, trying to overanalyze everything that I'm saying, and assuming what it is that I'm trying to say. Your inferences and your suggestions show what your assumptions were. Don't finish my sentences for me. But how many of you do that? Either literally finishing my sentences for me, or assuming what it is that I'm trying to tell you, or what I'm asking for, and telling me, I can't do that, I can't do that. Are you even fucking hearing a goddamn word that's coming out of my mouth? No. Now, Jared Scudder willing to go in with me. He hasn't gotten to see much. I did send him a little bit already. Like the thing with Marcia Estrada that shows that I'm not fucking schizophrenic. I also sent the actual paper evidence in an email. So Jared Scudder's got that. I've got evidence of corruption from one side of the country to the other. I've also got evidence that I went to those places because people there promised me that they would help me how I needed. Shannon Alvarado ended up being an alcoholic. Sally Treon and her husband David were into alcohol and pot for the most part. Her teeth were meth rotted though. And the lady who was staying out in the shed in the back, she was strung out on meth and kicked Sally Treon's daughter in the face. This is before they found Joseph Michael Lopez, and this is after I was assaulted by Waylon Lolatai. And his record don't matter, does it? But the fact that I was assaulted by him and they got away with it, not only there, but also at the jail, the Boulder County Jail. I was afraid of going back there and being tortured again. When Amanda Jonas pulled her crap, that's where they took me when they booked me. Boulder County Jail. And they held me there and prevented me from being able to go to court against Alicia Bollinger, which is literally why I had to break the law to get that court date. I literally had to break the law in August of 2017. I had to threaten to kill the people who had threatened to kill me and my friends and family. I had to threaten bodily harm against anybody who would harm my friends and family. That is not something that I wanted to do. But look at how many people were doing that to me. How many fake accounts were created to threaten and harass and intimidate me. Look at how many fake accounts these predators continue to make because I am speaking out on YouTube because I'm not allowed to show evidence in court or speak in court. I can't talk to a doctor or a public pretender or a police officer without them talking over me and inferring that I am doing something wrong by trying to go to them to turn in fucking crimes. They tell me it's not their job until one of their officers commits a felony against me, and then magically, yeah, hey Sean, now we'll investigate. Bring us everything you got. Are you fucking kidding me? You're out of your goddamn minds. What needs to be investigated is why Sean David Schwartz has so much evidence that he was lied to repeatedly by organization after organization. Why he was lied to repeatedly by law enforcement. Why he was lied to at hospitals by security and hospital staff. Why crimes that were reported by Sean Schwartz to mandated reporters were not heard. Why is it that the term mentally ill deprives us of all of our rights? Because they get to pretend that we're so developmentally disabled that we don't know what's going on. We must be too retarded to understand the English language, and our interpretation of things like the Second Amendment must be actually threats against people's lives. No, the Second Amendment was very specifically created to kill tyrants in the government. Whether that be a sheriff, the federal government, or of course, people who are assisting the sheriff and the federal government. If they are tyrants, they are tyrants. Leslie Snell collects a check for working for the government. The Second Amendment does apply. Yes, according to the Second Amendment, I do have the right to shoot tyrants, and I choose not to. Now, taking my words out of context, that's a very big no-no in a court of law. The cops know it, even the judge knew it, and yet he committed felonies to try to help somebody who he had worked with many times, several of them actually. The county attorney who I was trying to turn in, the sheriff that I was trying to turn in, and Leslie Snell that I was trying to turn in. I was trying to turn them in because part of the places that I was sent to was to each of them to turn in crimes against me. And of course, Nebraska State Patrol telling me that I got to turn in Dual County Sheriff Scott DaCosta to the Dual County Sheriff's Department. Well, if I don't do that, then they get to pretend like I didn't try. So I literally have to call the predator that I'm trying to turn in, to turn him into himself. That is literally the same thing that I'm doing here in Tillamook. That is literally the same thing that I had to deal with in Chapel, Nebraska, and in Longmont, Colorado, and in Boulder, Colorado. Cops taking advantage of my disabilities and taking advantage of the media, taking advantage of their powers to get people to do things like judges and lawyers just to sign a piece of paper because an officer who fucking assaulted me fucking said so. And how hard did my public pretenders fight to get the body cameras? They never did. They never made any attempt to get the body cameras. They did everything that they could to prevent me from having access to the body cameras and to prevent the body cameras from being shown in court or entered in as evidence. Those body cameras show that I was trying to turn in my predators. I was trying to follow the instructions that I was given by the detectives in Natalie Bollinger's case. And that I was being victimized by the public everywhere that I went, and law enforcement. There is still evidence that I spoke up about those situations, that those situations very specifically cut me off from help, actual human in-person help. And they also prevented me from going back to those places as if I had done something wrong. I hadn't. And then there's the fact that because of the slander, people wanted to hide under rocks. And I had to try to make calls alone. And even though there were people there when I had to make these calls, they didn't pay any attention. They didn't care. Too busy playing video games and doing drugs. Now, I do give officers grades based on how they handle the situation. If I was to grade the situation based on how they're supposed to utilize the law, they all get a flunk. But if I judge them based on how nice they are and how good they are at, well, doing the opposite of their job, as long as they're nice about it, they can get a good score for manipulation. If they're not nice about it, they get a far worse score for manipulation. The cops in these situations where I was trying to turn in child abuse, trying to turn in people who had taken advantage of me in my desperation and my desperate situation, and the things that it had cost me. It's cost me a lot of evidence. It's cost me a lot of time. It's cost me a lot of money. It's cost me a lot of sanity. It's cost me a lot of friendships. But how good were those friends if they were willing to look the other way to me being abused for all these years? You call it a burnt bridge. I call it crossing by firelight.